Good evening, everyone. Today I'm covering Locomoto, a cozy life sim focused on train conducting by developer Green Tile Digital. And I haven't really reviewed life sims to this point, not because I don't like them, but because I find they lack a unique hook. It's not enough anymore for a game to be just another Stardew Valley or another Animal Crossing. We're not exactly hurting for either, and a lot of these clones just do the exact same thing. I'm not discouraging developers from making these kinds of life sims, but I'd like them to try and put an interesting imprint on it, and that's what Locomoto sets out to do. You won't be running a town or doing house decoration, you'll be running a train that connects towns in an attempt to revitalize your home village and bring communities back together. You start off the way most life sims start, by stealing a train from an old man. It's fine, he forgives you later, proving the rule that it's always better to beg forgiveness than for permission. Your hometown is on pretty hard times, with ash and death everywhere and the mines collapsed. With the help of a new mayor and your trusty new locomotive, you'll set out one station at a time to fill out your map and help the citizens of each town, while the mayor back at home heads a cleanup effort. As you might expect, there's a character creator, and I made this very depressed looking blob of a multi-animal. Later on, you'll be able to change your wardrobe, and I ended up with this very Studio Ghibli on Lexapro look. But rather than having a home to decorate, you can think of the train itself as your home, and that means sprucing it up with all sorts of objects and wallpaper. Sort of like New Horizons, you'll be crafting most of your furniture, from the seating for passengers to fold-out tables to desks and props, and then utility closets where you keep your tools, clothes, wallpaper, and more. As long as you have the seats, you can board passengers, where they'll wait calmly and happily for as long as it takes you to get them to their destination. Or not. I mean, if you wanted, you could just never take them and they'd be your little fun train prisoner. But whenever you do release them from their ceaseless torment, they'll leave a token on the seat, much like room service leaving a mint on your pillow. These tokens can be traded in at any token station for materials, from wood to metal to fabric, and each town's token station has a different selection to choose from. So you can obviously see where this might be going. Yeah, some quests will have you getting specific materials for people, so you will be trekking the rails to gather them from different locations. It might be a little surprising to know that you don't actually control the train while it's in motion. All of that is handled automatically. You set a course on the map, and that can include as many stops as you like. I had around 7 pins on the map at one point, and then you pull the lever and off you go! While you're en route, you can speed the train up by shoveling additional coal into the furnace, though if you overheat, you'll need to pull on the whistle to let steam out. Yeah, you can toot the horn at any time. I know that's important to some people. I did it a couple times myself, just for fun. The train usually travels at around 15 miles an hour, very gentle, but there's a little green marker on the speedometer that will greatly increase your speed if you keep it from going under or over. And this can boost the train up to 80 miles an hour. What this ultimately means is, if you want to beeline it to a destination, you can hover over the furnace and keep it at high power. But otherwise, you can relax and just talk to the passengers as you wait. They'll sometimes have demands like pie or coffee, and as long as you have the machine crafted, you can serve it to them for an extra token. These passengers will make a mess, but as far as I can tell, cleaning is completely optional. Still, no one likes a train full of half-eaten sandwiches and mud prints, so I made sure to clean up. You do this with your handy tool closet, which contains a mop and trash bag, with more tools added over the course of the campaign, like an axe, a hammer, and a shovel. The trash bag can store a ton of garbage in it, which you can then take to recycling bins and sort for additional tokens. Trust me, you will not run short of tokens in this game. Locomoto's cup runneth over with tokens. It's like frickin' Chuck E. Cheese in here. And obviously, you can gather materials yourself by chopping logs and hacking into ore deposits. The quests in the game are fairly simple, usually just taking someone to somewhere else or providing materials. Sometimes there will be multi-step quests where you have to travel around the world helping a few people out. And then some other quests are just assisting someone right where they're standing, like cleaning up the garden around Lizzie's house. Honestly, they're just a step above busy work, but I I don't mind them. The biggest quests will unlock new territories, like this mountain region, and depending on which region you're in, the environment outside the train will match it. So here you can see that I'm in the mountain region now. You might think this is a pretty small game initially, but it's actually around 18 to 20 hours in length. As you're exploring the towns, you'll find treasure chests which you can open if you find the key in that region. And there are also blueprints and new clothes scattered about to pick up. And some stations have more advanced crafting work tables for making even better furniture for your train. I guess that leads to my first real criticism of the game though, which is the startling absence of convenience. There were a few aspects to the game that, in my opinion, should have been handled via simple menuing rather than at physical places in the world, crafting being one of them. But my big problem is with the tools. You have to grab tools out of the tool closet of your train every time you want to use them, and they take up one of your 6 precious inventory slots. I know that I just went through this with the Squirreled Away review, but has no indie developer heard of a radial menu? Just have a backpack full of your tools, or a bag of holding, or whatever magic, I don't care. It's a hassle to have to run back to the train just to swap tools because you need the free slots open for the resources you're about to harvest. At the very least, you can craft additional tool closets throughout the train, so cleaning after passengers is pretty painless. They're quantum tool closets, I don't know. Occasionally you'll find toy trains, which you can bring back to the old man's junkyard in exchange for new, very real wagons for your very real train. You organize the layout of your train on this model rail set, and unfortunately they don't give you a lot of space to work with. You basically have enough space for 1 storage unit, 1 small passenger car, and 1 regular sized passenger car, which has this goofy glitch whenever you pull out of the station. It absolutely does not want to stay on those rails. Now, I tend to score games on their variety in addition to their gameplay loops, and the variety on this one is kinda murky. There are sort of half-baked napkin sketches of planting crops and fishing, but they're extremely basic and you don't even have to water the plants. I guess the townspeople do it for you. And the game is not well developed beyond its central premise. None of the houses in the towns can be entered, and by the way, that includes your own house. Now, maybe something unlocks near the end of the game, I don't know, but I'm over halfway through and that has not materialized. There are theoretical vendors, like Marigold Market has a trading post and there's a tailor in the mountain region, but you won't actually be buying anything from them. There are a couple of quests that involve talking to the trading post vendor, but you can't just, spend your tokens on stuff except at token stations. Shops just don't exist as a gameplay mechanic. And so, even though I find Locomoto to be an interesting take on Animal Crossing, it's also kinda deficient in some of the things that I would expect from this genre, and in this game as well. For example, there's absolutely no multiplayer in this game. You won't be boarding anyone else's train and seeing what they've done with their place. They give you all these emotes to express with, but for whom? The point of the emotes in Animal Crossing is to communicate with friends in a funny way. What is the point here? I also feel like the progression ramp up just isn't as satisfying as Nintendo's series. In Animal Crossing, you start very small, work your way up, constantly upgrading, getting new shops, new projects for the town, the city eventually opens, or the island becomes available, or the museum opens a new floor. But Locomoto's progression is pretty lateral. You'll be constantly unlocking new stations, but those stations will just have more of the same kinds of tasks for you. Locomoto is a game highly lacking in delightful surprises. Before I wrap up though, let's talk about the aesthetics. These aren't my favorite animal designs in a game, but they're okay. They're about on par with Hako Life's Citizens, where they're kinda cute, but not quite appealing enough to make it to the main stage. There's a minor time of day aspect to the game, and there can be some lovely colors at sunset and nighttime, and I do find some of the furniture and wallpaper pretty appealing, so that did make me look forward to unlocking and crafting more recipes. The music music is very lo-fi beats to relax and study to. It's calm and tranquil, but in a different way from Animal Crossing, so I do respect that approach. Aside from that silly train glitch, the game is pretty polished. You do have that weird hiccup where a door won't be interactable sometimes until you back away from it and then walk back up to it. Okay, this is something I've encountered a few times in an indie game. Is this like a Unity engine problem or something? It's happened to me more times than the Doofenshmirtz meme, enough that I'm curious. Loading times are not super long, and since you're not going in and out of houses, there's plenty of gameplay time between loads, so that's at least a fair trade-off. In conclusion, I think Locomoto is an okay cozy game, and it has a flavor to it that helps it stand apart from the pack. If you've ever wanted to play pretend on a train and give people drinks and watch the hills go by, this might be your exact jam. For me, I need just a little bit more to snack on, whether it's more mechanics or more customization or more building projects. And there are too many aspects that make the world feel like a cardboard set that could fall over with the push of a finger. Now, we live in the era of the forever game, and it wouldn't surprise me if Locomoto added more content down the rail? But think of this game as a specialist, like a left-handed relief pitcher. It's serving a specific niche, and if you don't fall into that niche, it might leave you stranded at the station. Okay, I've been making a ton of videos over the past several weeks, and I need a dang break. So I'm gonna be away for about 10 days as I recharge and, of course, play more video games. If you've been waiting for me to talk about animation again, you won't have to wait too much longer, as I'll be talking about the film K-pop Demon Hunters at the end of the month, and I'll be reviewing various animated series alongside indie games for the rest of the year. If that sounds appealing to you, hit the subscribe button and follow me along on this journey. Special thanks to my indie darlings on Patreon. They, along with the rest of the patrons, help keep me going in these very lean times. So thanks to everyone for their support, thank you all for watching, and until next time, you'll find me in another castle.